So this game got announced. I actually think this is the new Concord. It is, and it's basically done for them. Like, this is a game that's dead before it's even alive. USAID got shut off? Yeah.
Growing up, I was taught that if you can't say anything nice, it is better to say nothing at all, which...
I never learned that. My parents never told me that. I don't know if you can tell.
can be great advice, but unfortunately, when it comes to business, not speaking up can cost you money.
Yeah, we know.
A lot of money. Last week, the GDC State of the Game Industry report dropped, which is basically a giant anonymous survey where devs, artists, programmers, producers, and executives all over get to share how things are actually going behind the scenes. This year, over 2,300 people responded, with the majority of those responses coming from Western devs, mainly in California. And after reading the report, I genuinely could not tell whether it was a survey or a cry for help. So today we are looking at a few titles coming down the pipeline, who is actually making our games, where all the money is going, and the ever-growing gap between the studios making these games and the players they are supposedly making them for. Do you ever see something and just go, huh? Because that was me this past week when I saw Jeff Keighley upload yet another cursed trailer.
I feel like, honestly, these companies need to start paying Jeff Keighley to not post their videos. They need to start paying him to just simply not eat. Don't, Jeff, please, we're going to give you $1,000. Do not talk about our game. Like, he's like the fucking Grim Reaper.
It's time for Horizon Hunter's Gathering, and hear me out. This is coming from someone who enjoyed the first Horizon, and I liked Aloy, but I ask this genuinely. Who is out there right now pounding the table going, I need more Horizon? At this point, I am convinced that there is an exec at PlayStation who is weirdly obsessed with this franchise and character, and their work profile picture is Aloy. They named their firstborn child Aloy, and the entire office is full of Aloy pictures.
It does seem to me like also like the interest in Horizon feels very artificial and astroturfed. I think that's true. What's that? That's the modern audience.
Character. Not their firstborn child. And they have been the one is solely responsible for pitching every single Horizon spinoff, which seemed to all get greenlit, by the way. Now, to be totally fair, I thought the gameplay looked okay. I like the Monster Hunter type games, but unfortunately, I am way too much of an incel to be the target audience for this one, because what is this? Like,
this is like, bro, you know what this reminds me of? This is like if somebody AI generates the cast of a video game, and it's like, okay, go ahead, make a video game that's made by the same company that made Dragon Age the Veilguard, but it is a, you know, like a hunting video game with like tribal elements to it. And it's like, boom. Oh, and put a fat chick in it.
What am I looking at? Gorilla. Had you guys just been normal and given me normal, fun characters to choose from, I might have tried this, but I cannot get behind the designs for this game.
It's ridiculous.
Who is spending cosmetics money?
Who wants to pay for this? To be fair, I can think of a number of guys that would pay for this. But at the same time, I mean, she fat as hell. She is.
To dress this character up. Honestly, it is so bad. It is almost to the point where I think there is some type of big inside bet at Sony, and you are all trying to out-Concord one another. And if you don't believe me, look no further than the two other live service games being published by Sony. Starting with Fair Games.
Oh, God, this game, bro. This game, whenever this game releases, it's going to be such a great stream. It is. This game looks so fucking cringe. It was like, basically, this is a game that was made during COVID, bro. It was so fucking bad.
Do you remember when this trailer dropped? A live service heist game where you play as Reddit mod Robin Hood, who is stealing from corrupt billionaires to stick it to capitalism. The game got a lot of backlash and has been pretty quiet ever since. And who can forget Marathon? Bungie and Sony, who acquired them for $3.7 billion, are betting
minus $3.7 billion. That's sad.
Everything on a live service extraction shooter. At this point,
the studio head left the company after an internal playtest? Bro, so you're telling me they had a playtest for the game and this guy's like, guys, Oh, would you look at the... I gotta go. Ah, man. I got something going on.
I genuinely think they know. They have to know. They have seen their fallen comrades, but they are just so deep that stopping would be worse than finishing. We may be witnessing the sunk cost fallacy in real time. But maybe you're ignoring all of that, and you are just looking for the next big single-player adventure from a
So y'all are already deciding Marathon's bad? No, we already decided. This is past tense. People already decided like months ago. Yeah, we already know that. Duh. Didn't you see it?
Darling, like Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
well,
didn't you
don't
see
forget,
it? Bro,
Intergalactic and our
crazy?
favorite bald protagonist is still on the horizon. The last time we heard about this game was
I think this will be the final Concord, by the way. I think there's a good chance that this game flops out super hard and it becomes the final Concord.
Naughty Dog's biggest, most expensive title yet, and this past December, the dev team was forced to crunch for an internal demo, which...
Dude, imagine having to crunch for a demo. Oh my god.
Go. Did they finally decide to scrap this game? One can only hope. And I have to ask, who keeps telling Western AAA, notably Sony in these examples, that this is what we want? Who?
Activists that want to insert their ideology and their worldview into video games keep telling people that. And because of a culture around toxic positivity, nobody else inside of those workplaces wants to hold them accountable or ask, like, is there really an audience for a character that looks like this or a community that is like this? Because basically nobody wants to be nobody wants to be the wet blanket on the lesbian, bald, girl boss power fantasy. Because if you are, you're going to end up in HR one way or another. Because that's what those people do. So nobody wants to put their career on the line saying that, you know what? Maybe nobody actually likes this.
Is sitting in these rooms when this stuff gets pitched and is going, yes, the people actually are begging for this. Is anyone pushing back? Are they pushing back and getting ignored? Because from the outside...
They're afraid to push back because if they do push back, they will be attacked by the same type of reputation destruction that these people do on Twitter. They're all the same people. They're doing it in companies and they're doing it on Twitter as well. It's all the same people. You can't voice an opinion other than the orthodoxy in those meetings. Exactly, it's an HR disaster for nothing. Rather than just collect a paycheck from these losers as long as it gets to look for work. Exactly.
It genuinely looks like nobody at these companies wants to or is allowed to say, hey, I don't know, maybe not this one, but hold that thought because we are coming back to it. Okay. So a bit of a confession. I always have these big grand goals of meal prep at the start of the year.
You know what my version of meal prep is? It's buying 5 bags of beef jerky at the convenience store.
End up being historically pretty terrible at it, which has only gotten harder this year since getting a brand new puppy, which is where Factor comes in and takes the hard part out of eating well. The meals are fresh, never frozen, so do be sure to pop them in your fridge as soon as you get them, and they are ready in just 2 minutes. I really enjoyed the items that I tried. I won't lie though, I am a bit of a sucker for egg bites, so I will be a little bit biased in saying that the breakfast options were probably my favorite. But if you like a lot of variety in your meals, they have got over 100 options.
You buy it on Amazon,
weekly,
cheaper.
And everything is made without refined seed oils or artificial junk. Most meals have over 30 grams of protein too, which if you are looking to stay consistent with fitness stuff, that makes a huge difference. If you're interested in checking them out, head to factor75.com or click the link below. And
I went to 7-Eleven last night at 2 in the morning, and the 7-Eleven was closed. And then I went to another 7-Eleven, and it was also closed. And then I just went home.
Code background NPC FB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code background NPC FB50
I figured it was just like at that point, like the universe is sending me a message.
Off plus free breakfast for 1 year. The offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but those games have not even come out yet. Maybe they will surprise us. And you know what?
How do you know it's shit? It's not even out yet.
That is fair. I can still give them the benefit of the doubt, but you know who we can't give the benefit of the doubt to? the games that have already came out over the last few years. That beautiful slideshow.
People are not going to give the benefit of the doubt to these games anymore. Like, I'm sorry, but like after some of the recent ones, like after Veilguard, I feel like nobody is listening to that shit at all anymore.
So you are witnessing just those games combined. You are probably looking at north of 1.5 billion
Skull
in
and
development
Bones,
and marketing.
Suicide Squad, living up to its name. It killed itself.
Games that either flopped, were delisted, or were DOA.
Man.
$1.5 billion.
Star Wars Outlaws.
Gone. That is very real budgets, real studios,
Banisher,
and real...
Dude, this game crashed out so hard, I didn't even know it existed. This is the first time I'm seeing this game. I've never seen it before this, and I'll probably never see it again.
People's jobs, which brings us to the question that we have been building to.
Outer
if
Worlds
billions
2.
are being burned
Mind's
and
Eye,
entire
that was
pipelines
bad.
look like this, what's
Avengers
actually
game,
happening
Square
to the
Enix.
people making these games? This is where the GDC report comes in. Quick aside and bit of NPC lore for you. I actually went to GDC last year for work, and I need you to know that I saw Ben Starr perform Raphael's Ballad from Baldur's Gate 3 live on stage, and it was a top 5 life moment for me. Anyway, here is what the report says. 1 in 3 US game developers have been laid off over the past 2 years.
1 in 3? Holy shit. Wow.
Tens of thousands of jobs gone, and nearly half still cannot find work. And it is not just people who were laid off.
So none of them could be 72%. Wow.
This past year, but even people who lost their jobs over a year ago. 2/3 of AAA studios conducted layoffs in the past year alone, and 74%
2/3 conducted oh man.
of students studying game development are scared to even enter the industry. One student in the industry literally just wrote, "There aren't any jobs, everyone's getting fired, it's effed." Yeah.
You know what? That's a good way to say it. You're right. No salt in my fries. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to learn how to make some fries.
The reasons companies gave: restructuring, budget cuts, market conditions. But when the survey asked workers what they think is really going on, the top answers were more like mismanagement and greed. The report literally frames it as companies call it restructuring, workers blame mismanagement. And
what a big fucking surprise that they're going to blame, they're going to blame the fucking company. I think it's probably a mix of like multiple things, right? Is that they probably did mismanage, number one. And on top of them mismanaging, the companies are probably making bad games too. So it's just a little bit of a comparison of both of them.
I won't deny that there are real structural problems and probably a good bit of mismanagement happening. But we just watched that montage together. We saw the billion plus disappear. We just looked at Sony's pipeline. At some point, we have to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, studios are struggling because gamers have decided their products are not worth their money.
Well, these people, there's a lot of reasons why, right? You also have video games that fail for like completely non-cultural reasons, but like one of the problems is that the people that want to infest and like interject culture stuff into video games, they would rather ruin a company than stop doing this. And this is one thing that a lot of these companies need to realize is that if you're running this company and you want to make a successful game and you want to make payroll, your values are not aligned with one of these people who their goal is actually to, push this narrative or have some sort of a message go through. And that's the big difference, right? Look at Ubisoft. Well, in all of these companies, because they don't really care about the games. They don't care about the products. They don't care about anything other than feeling good about themselves. And that's it. Their message is more important than the profit. Yeah, exactly. They don't care about profit. That's it.
Games that they are releasing are just plain bad. Now, the report also covers who is actually making these games, and the workforce is shifting pretty quickly. We see that 64% is made up of men, which is down over 10% from previous years, while women continue to increase year over year. LGBT representation is at 28%, jumping to 46% for devs under the age of 24, which...
that's insane. 28% of them are gay? How the fuck do you get to that number? 40% that are under what? What was it?
28%, jumping to 46%.
46%?
For devs under the age of 24, which...
46% are gay? Oh, guys, I wonder. That's crazy. That's like a 20x overrepresentation. Yeah, the amount of people that identify as LGBT, like, so basically there is like one very large outlier, which is women that report bisexuality, right? A lot of women say that they're bisexual, and that massively skews the representation. But before that, and like aside from that, it's like 2 to 3%. But over half of it, because I think the total is like 7% or something like that, that are actually like that are reported. But if you remove like bisexual women, then it's like 3%, something like that, 3-4%.
For reference, is 2 to 3 times the national average. The report itself says that they have
39%.
Changed the survey methodology, though, so year-over-year comparisons aren't completely reliable.
That's insane.
But the direction is pretty clear. What is super crazy, though, is the experience gap. According to the survey, the largest group of devs has 3 to 5 years of experience, and over half of them have less than 10.
Does it even matter? Yeah, it does matter. Because I think what's like, you don't get that type. Here's the subtext of this. You don't get that type of overrepresentation unless you're aiming for it. That's the truth. I bet the fashion design industry has a lower percentage than that. So what they're doing is they are intentionally hiring for people that fit these different pieces of criteria. And in the process of hiring for people with this criteria, you are obviously not selecting for other criteria. And in the process of not selecting for other criteria, you are hiring people that are worse, basically. You're hiring people that have they're seeking them out. Yeah, they're looking for them. They're seeking them out. They're trying to overhire them. And then the people after they overhire, then they continue overhiring. You see what I'm saying?
This means the people who shipped the games we grew up on, they are leaving the field, are getting cut,
they're
or
hiring within their
are being
social
replaced
circles.
by people who are still learning. Last year, I actually spoke with a 3D artist who has been in the AAA industry for over 15 years, and
That's a long time.
he confirmed that this is a real problem. He said when you lose that legacy knowledge, it tends to show up everywhere. Production pipelines get messier, things like optimization start to slip up. Basically all of the invisible stuff that you don't notice when it's done right, but then you absolutely noticed when it is not. How many games?
It's a DEI thing. It is. And that's the reason why. I've said before, I mean, it's like a meme. I think a lot of people don't want to admit this, but I think that one of the reasons why video games are garbage now is the residual effects of DEI hiring. Is because whenever you hire a bunch of gender warriors and retards instead of people that know how to make video games, you're going to get video games that are retarded. Duh. That's the reason, and that's the reason why, for example, in America, you have awful video games that are being made on a very regular basis. Meanwhile, in many places in Europe, you don't have that, and especially not in China. And inside of the free market, they're massively out-competing and overperforming above their Western counterparts, and especially American counterparts. It's not even close.
Have launched that just feel
bad developers do bad results. Exactly. Yeah.
A lot. And sometimes that is a knowledge and skill problem. And that gap is only getting wider. He also said that in his experience, people who do push back, people who offer constructive criticism on things
they
like
get attacked,
narrative
right?
decisions, character designs, asset creation, have actually landed in trouble for it.
See? It's exactly what I said. It's exactly what I fucking said. It's because it is a culture of toxic positivity where nobody is allowed to have any opinion other than that.
HR trouble. Not everywhere and not every studio, but enough that people have learned to kind of just...
Once you understand the nature of these people, you can predict their behavior. It's the same as anything.
Their heads down. Do you remember earlier when I asked, is anyone at Sony Studios pushing back? I think the answer at large is no. And if anyone is, they are probably being ignored or silenced. And it is so sad because I know that there are still genuinely talented, passionate people in the industry who are there because they truly love games and love making...
The video game companies that are infected with these people will die. There is no way that these companies have a way to get rid of them. So companies like Blizzard, companies like maybe Bungie, like that Halo Studios company, they will never be able to get rid of these people unless something dramatic or drastic happens, which I'm not expecting. They will just continue to poison the company more and more until the company becomes totally dysfunctional and it falls apart. And you're seeing that happening with a lot of these companies now. You are.
Them for players. But the thing that is so interesting to me is that this survey has pages on demographics and DEI policy changes.
Of course.
Pages on AI, pages on monetization models, pages on engines. But I read through the whole thing, and you know what's not in there? Not a
video game interests and the things that people actually care about with games, like gameplay, like trends.
Section, not a single question about the players, about the actual customers that this industry serves.
They don't care about customers, and that's the problem with modern media. Modern media no longer looks at the end user as the main person that should be served. Modern media is built around serving the artist rather than the person who's consuming the art.
In the report about what customers are actually wanting, what they are asking for, and what feedback these studios are getting.
Money holes is more money. Now it's AI. That's why they're moving on, not because people have had enough. It's a mute point. What is this here? So, what is this here? Do you really, you're arguing about this? What is this? This is the board's fault, as I said. Just get rid of dumb people. It doesn't even matter. Decisions made by the board. Do you really think that inside of the character, do you really think that the board of directors is deciding how to design a character? Like, are they doing that? Fuck me, I'm on mobile. Yeah. You know, clouds to my money holders, they thought it was more money. No, really, think about this. And also, whenever you look at the hiring practices, and if you're hiring somebody based off of a DEI reason, you're probably going to get a subpar candidate. Because if you were going to get a high quality candidate, you wouldn't have needed the DEI in the first place. Just logically. Oh, bureaucracy is this? Yeah, sure. No, but they're the ones hiring on the assumptions that you're saying. Well, yeah, but then after the people get hired, then they create an ecosystem inside of the community and inside of the company that makes it to where nobody can go against them or talk about them. I mean, she said that was happening. I think that you can just easily predict this is happening if you understand the way that they think. Like, it's really, the problem is that a lot of people have no problem blaming executive leadership and the board for making bad decisions, and you're not wrong, but you're also incompletely looking at this problem. Do you really think that all of the individual developers, designers, artists, and these people are super competent, brilliant, creative people that are amazing, that understand video games, and it's just all the people in the top that are making all the bad decisions? Like, what do you think the logic for that is? Do you think that ever happens? Like, every company and every organization I've ever been a part of, dysfunctional organizations are dysfunctional top to bottom. Like, whether it's the federal government, a Warcraft guild, or a company, they're always going to be dysfunctional completely. And dysfunction breeds dysfunction. That's the other thing, too, is that people that don't want to be in a dysfunctional environment will avoid an environment like that, which will lead to a feedback loop of more of those people that are dysfunctional coming into the different into the environment. Yeah, but you're going against them, not the ones hiring. Wouldn't it be better to blame the people in charge? The thing is that you're talking about blaming the people in charge. I think that you should blame both of them. I think that you should look at blaming the hiring managers. You should look at blaming the artists that make characters like this. You should look at blaming the developers. You should blame HR for creating a culture around this. And you should also blame the people that are, allowing it to happen. Like, it's not a matter of one or the other. The reason why I think that it's not, I think that you're really downplaying the amount of just very casual social pressure that goes along with this type of behavior. And I can guarantee you that there is an overwhelming amount of casual social pressure that exists in these companies that is created intentionally in order to suppress any dissent from these ideologies and for these people. Like, this is, I guarantee you, I bet you $1 million this is what's happening. Because it's what they do. Like, they're bullies. Like, that's what people like that do. I don't care about any of this shit. There are good games out there. Yeah, sure. On mobile. Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't matter. But yes, I absolutely think that's what's happening. 100%. Hiring managers are only mid-management. Yeah, exactly.
from the people spending money on their games. You have got an industry surveying itself about why everything is falling apart, and there are no questions about the one group of people who can actually fix it. And I don't know, but I think that tells you everything you need to know about where the disconnect is. So 1/3 of devs laid off, billions squandered. The pipeline coming from these large studios is still full of stuff that most people did not ask for.
Yeah,
and
nobody wants this. Nobody wants a character creator or a character I don't know what you want to call it, like a character list like that fucking Horizon game. Nobody wants this.
The industry survey of the year did not think to include
mentally
a single question
women
about what players actually
Besides
want and are gravitating towards. This is what happens when nobody in the room says enough is enough, or this isn't good enough, or when they do, they get ignored, or worse, punished for it. So
yeah, that's the reason why nobody cares. It's because they don't want to get in trouble.
For Sony, Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, and every other studio that just hasn't got it yet.
The reason why it started happening is because there was a lot of private equity and investment money that was put into hiring people of different identities and different, genders and, everything else, like diverse hiring practices. And in the process, and also video games that tackle and approach diverse themes. So like that's ESG, right? And environmental social governance. So what happens is that basically you have these companies that are going after this money, and this money creates obviously a reward structure around creating content like this. So now you see all of these video games, and here's the other thing too. Think about it from a selection bias point of view. Which video games are going to be the video games that need to get ESG money? The worst ones, naturally, because these are video games that couldn't go and get investment based off of their gameplay. They couldn't get investment based off of their design. They had to, instead of this, create a secondary reason that actually has nothing to do with the video game that is the reason why they're getting this investment. So just by the nature of a video game seeking ESG funding, there is a higher probability that that will be a weaker video game, because good video games would have already gotten funding on the basis of their gameplay, graphics, or design. Just think about it.
If you want to start winning again, here is what the GDC survey is not telling you. Stop sitting in your boardrooms trying to squeeze every last cent out of people instead of making something worth buying. Stop hiring consulting firms to tell you what your players want when they are already telling you for free. Stop chasing ESG scores and HR diversity checkboxes while your games launch broken and your studios close. Stop blaming gamers.
And also, here's another thing, is that a lot of these people that work in these companies need to understand that it doesn't matter whether you think people are wrong or not. If you try to sell a video game about gay people in Saudi Arabia, you're going to go out of business. And you can be morally, ethically, on principle, you can be on the right side of history, but if you do that enough times, you're going to be on the side of the street. And this is the issue these people don't realize, is that they think because they have some sort of moral mandate that everybody has to agree with them. That's not how it works.
For not wanting what you made, and to stop punishing the devs who actually care about the craft for decisions that executives made over lunch. Start listening to the people buying your games and start making games for the people who actually play them. Do actual market research on your target audience.
Remember that game that we played yesterday? 100 players, and they advertised that they were for the modern audience.
Because we want to be excited, and we have proven over and over and over again that we will show up for you, but we want to be respected as customers, and we are done subsidizing your bad decisions. The proof is sitting right in front of you. Arc Raiders, Silksong, Clair Obscur, Space Marine 2, Elden Ring Night Rain, Split Fiction, Dispatch, all successful, all made by people who knew exactly who they were making them for and actually liked them. The audience...
And fundamentally, any sort of culture issues inside of a video game will never prevent that video game from being successful. If it's a very good video game, people will play a video game that has 7 genders in it. Nobody really cares about these topics, but whenever a video game is bad, then, and also it goes back to what I was saying before, is that a lot of the people that are, part of this stuff, they're not good at making video games. They're bad at their job. That's why they got hired. That's why they needed to get hired, is because they couldn't have gotten hired naturally because they weren't good enough to compete on an even playing field, and so they needed DEI advantages.
Has never been the problem here. And speaking of people who are actually finally getting it, Overwatch randomly hit my social media for the first time in years this week. Why? because they kind of admitted that the sequel was a mistake and are doing their biggest content push in forever to try and make up for it. 5 new heroes, Hello Kitty costumes for the characters, and this is how I found out that they brought back loot boxes. I am almost tempted to hop on just to check out that new Mercy mythic. And
they did. I didn't even know that.
How that works. Competition is always a good thing.
Yeah.
I am not a Blizzard fan, but it is interesting to see how Marvel Rivals just walked in, gave people what they wanted, and did not overthink it. And now Blizzard is scrambling to catch up to them. It's almost like the market works and you eventually have to listen to it. And then even just looking at other upcoming releases, Crimson Desert, Tides of Annihilation, RE9, Reanimal, Phantom Blade Zero, the new Divinity game.
There's a lot of games.
The excitement is so genuine for these games. No one has to convince you. Journalists aren't writing exposés on why you should care. And embarrassingly, some of them are actually trying to do the opposite. But for these games, there is just real organic hype because the audience can clearly see that they are hopefully going to be good.
Yeah, well, it's also like people just look at a game and they make it, like, here's the problem is that people will make a decision, like, and this is true with, like, you know, it's like the whole, like, looks maxing thing, right? The reason why a lot of people buy into looks maxing is because it's true. If you're more attractive and people like looking at you, people would be more likely to interact with you. Because do you want to interact with somebody you don't want to look at? Of course not. So there would have to either be like some sort of really big reason beyond that to do it, but in an equal playing field, everybody's always going to choose what looks better. And so what happens is that whenever a video game gives a very bad first impression with the way that it looks or the way that it plays, those first 5 minutes of playing a video game are the most important 5 minutes inside of the video game. Because or the trailer, the first 20 seconds of a trailer are the most important seconds of the trailer. If you can't sell the game at that point, or you do something that makes people not like the game, then people are just going to immediately lose interest. And the problem is that a lot of video games, like Avowed was a great example of this. Avowed's first trailer was awesome. And then later on, when people saw more of the game, then they got upset about it. But overall, like, it still had a lot of excitement about it until like maybe very late in the cycle. It's because people still held on to that first impression. And think about how long it took for people to get away from World of Warcraft, right? And even then, people still play it a lot.
That the devs are genuinely trying. Now,
that's how it is.
I will say, even though we just talked about some major misses from the West, there are still some big ones coming up here.
Yeah.
Witcher 4, Wolverine, GTA 6, if it finally drops.
Hopefully.
And
Yeah.
kind of my thought on all of them is I'm hopeful, but nervous. I would like to be excited, but we have just been burned so many times at this point. There is
I don't expect any Western studio video game to come out and be good. And even GTA 6, like, I think it'll be good, but, like, I'm not sure. Like, I have zero faith in Western game studios.
Permanent layer of
zero.
Will this be good? Hanging over everything for me, which is only solidified when I read things like that GDC report. But that is the state of the industry right now. It is clear that the audience...
and these people, like, again, the free market exists, and these people will naturally select themselves out of the environment. And eventually, like, it's not happening, like, obviously overnight, but it is happening very fast. Like, a third of people are getting laid off in the last 2 years. Holy shit, that's insane.
Is continuing to speak up loudly, repeatedly, and with their wallets. So the only question left is whether or not these studios that have still not been able to get the memo will finally start listening to the players instead of whatever focus group told you that we wanted Horizon Hunters Gathering. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for being here, and I genuinely would love to know your thoughts on everything. Is there a game that you are super excited for this year? Thanks again, and I will see you.
I'm really excited for Crimson Desert. I'm gonna be honest, like, that's the main game I'm excited for. Like, that's the one, like, I'm looking to play that game for fucking, like, hours, hundreds of hours, hopefully. And so we'll see what happens, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, this is the background NPC video. I've watched, obviously, a lot of her videos, and I totally agree, by the way. And, yeah, I do. Huge flop incoming? No, it will not be a flop at all. It's going to be an amazing game. It's going to be great. Okay, what about the pirate one? Yeah, I'm really excited for that game, too. It is. It's already got 22,000 players, or it had 22,000 players. So, yeah. And you better do a full playthrough on stream, motherfucker. We'll see what happens, right? I don't know. You think layoffs is because of AI, too? I actually think AI is a bigger reason. So AI and other forms of like technology replacement, I actually think is the main reason why you're seeing a lot of these layoffs. It is a much bigger reason than like any sort of cultural impact or anything else. AI is the main reason why this is happening, and the culture impact is like a secondary thing that makes it worse. It's like a escalator, right?